Hello everyone, Jesse Berg, Technical Agronomist, Southwest Minnesota for DeKalb Asgrow. Here to talk to you today about a really hot topic during this season, especially the last couple of years, cool, wet conditions, just a lot of wet conditions overall, the last 2 to 3 years for some people during planting, corn planting. We want to get out there early as we possibly can. There's no data yet today that tells me that by delaying corn planting you're gaining yield. It's always a flip-flop, right? Take advantage of those early planting windows and we can get some top-end yields with our corn. So with that said, just wanted to share with you today a few things I want you to know about as far as early season corn diseases and insects. So today we'll kind of just focus on really emergence, maybe up to knee-high corn, some diseases, insects that might be prevalent, what to look for, and then with all that said, what can you do as a dealer, as a DeKalb Asgrow customer to help mitigate some of those risks when they're out in the field. So we'll go ahead and get started. Diagnosing pest issues. You look at this, scouting's obviously key. What type of environment is out there. Be aware of pest life cycles. What's the field history on that end of it. Identifying patterns based on that field history. Symptomology of the disease. Pest infestations, having a good memory bank. Good way to mark those is utilizing Climate Field View. Field region reports, maybe where you had some corn rootworm issues in the past, poorly drained soils where you maybe put in some additional tile, that type of thing. Where are your risk issues going to be? And again, track local pest development, local and regional pest monitoring, university data, maybe using sticky traps to track moth migrations for corn rootworm, so on and so forth. And then environmental conditions, we kind of talked about that, may influence the pest intensity or change the severity of what's going on. Field level considerations, kind of touched on this before. Field history, so we talked about previous crops, pest problems. The other thing is tillage. Did we in our heart of hearts get some really good tillage done? Are we going to be more prone maybe for some compaction, so on and so forth. Residue, fertility. Just some good field level fertility considerations there. Soil type, slope, drainage, fertility as well. Your seed bed prep. Harmon Wiltz did a really good job, early video on the importance of the seed bed. Need to get those in there. Need to make sure our planter is set correctly. Tillage residue, pesticides. The date, the depth, the rate of planting, and then previous disease, kind of like we talked about, insect history on that end. So some important corn and insect diseases. I'm not going to go in depth on all these today, but just some examples up there on the screen. Seed corn maggot, I have seen some of that a little bit, more so in your heavy residue, heavy compacted areas on the insect side. Grubs off and on maybe. Corn rootworm, we're always keeping track of that. Basically for us, really the northern and the western corn rootworm beetles. On the disease side, there's a lot of them listed there, but really kind of the main two I'd probably focus on is Pythium and Fusarium. With our cool, wet soils, wet conditions out there, those are two really to look at. And then, we're keeping track of nematodes as well. How are we going to combat those? So emergence in knee-high corn, we just talked about, insect and disease symptoms. These are all just examples of some things you need to go through when you're going out there, symptomology and what could be the cause, right, on that end, cause and effect. So just looking at a few of them, so the seed's hollowed out. You're digging up a seedling, looking at it, what could be the culprit? Is it seed corn beetle, that seed corn maggot, did that eat the seedling? Is that an issue that was out in the field? Discolored leaves, that's a common one I get every year. Hey, we're not even up to nutrient uptake in corn yet, but and maybe we're getting close, but we're seeing discolored leaves. Could be a nutrient deficiency caused by, could eventually be caused by root feeding insects on that end. Shredded leaves or eaten leaves, leaves spotted, striped, or dead. Plants will wilt and die suddenly. That's kind of where we'll get into our seedling blights on that end, depending on the timing, growth stage, where they're at. What's causing some of this stuff? So just some critical thinking we need to do. Again, looking at that cause and effect, why does our crop look the way it does post-planting? So some corn seedling diseases, we'll try to maybe blow some of these up. Maybe a little difficult to see, but again, Pythium, looking at that one. So during Pythium, it rots seed prior to germination or its seedling. mesocotyle tissue after emergence. The infected roots really have that rotted cortex that happen. Warm, wet soils really overall favor Pythium infection. So you can see over here on this side, cord seedling killed by Pythium. Right here on the left, basically all just necrosis, decay on the left side. And there's a normal plant for comparison right to the right of it. So really can do heavy damage to your corn crop on that end. And another picture over here, just kind of with maybe more of a clear background. You can see some Pythium actually starting here on that root. Another one, we talked about Fusarium. Infected plants can have tan to reddish brown lesions. The root or mesocotyle may shrivel. So we went through corn growth and development, talking about locations on the plant that mesocotyle may shrivel up. The lesions, the root or mesocotyle may shrivel on that end. Root symptoms really range from very slight brown discoloration to dark black. As far as Fusarium goes, completely rotted roots, and then can occur during a wide range of temperatures and environmental conditions. Here's kind of a cross section down here of Fusarium crown rot. That crown right up in here, that Fusarium disease gets into the roots, starts working its way up through the plant. That crown gets decayed, the growing point's there, and it's kind of, you're done for as far as the disease getting into the seedling and up through the plant. So good cross section picture right there of Fusarium. So another slide here, just kind of looking at early season corn insects. A few of them look at here. I talked about seed corn maggot. Corn rootworm, more of a big factor there. Treatment and threshold. So we look at this, Genuity Smart Stack Rib corn blends. That is the first thing listed there, not on purpose. There's data suggesting that. You're choosing that Smart Stack, let's not even worry about corn rootworm. Seldomly, if ever, you're going to have issues with corn rootworm when you plant a Smart Stack. It's kind of that built-in insurance policy, that peace of mind that you get by planting that. On that end of it, corn rootworm, adult beetle counts. We talked about sticky traps, one way to kind of track those before. Beetle counts across silking, and consult local experts as well on that end of it. With this long list of things, insects that are up there, you can see down below it says preventative treatments may include seed treatment as well, and then it mentions Smart Stack. So, from a seed treatment standpoint, what does our Seed Applied Solutions group actually have, that'll help us out? A lot of great fungicide products as far as that goes. And one thing, we've really been pushing hard is this EDC treatment, which is Enhanced Disease Control. 2020 benefits as far as EDC. And where you get these EDC products, really they're available on all year one products. So if you were going out, you're going for top end yields, you're planting like a 49-44, a 52-34, so on and so forth. Year one products, they all have it on there, Enhanced Disease Control. And then checking with your local DeKalb Asgrow dealer, year 2, year 3 growth products also are included with the Enhanced Disease Control. So overall, looking overall from years of testing, 7 years of testing, just by putting this EDC component in for treatment, we're looking at a 3.5 to 4 bushel increase, just yield based on that alone. This really was added to your corn at no additional cost whatsoever. It's all built into the DeKalb experience is kind of the way I put it. Really looking at this one, enhances early to mid-season disease control due to the reduction of infections caused by Fusarium, Rhizoctonia, and a few others that are also pathogens that lead to anthracnose stalk rot. So we know that anthracnose stalk rot really kind of comes from like a Fusarium. It's an opportunistic disease. Fusarium's in there. Anthracnose stalk rot, typically for us, we see it late season. We need some protection earlier on from that Fusarium, as we talked about a few slides ago, before the Fusarium can get into the plant. So definitely a mitigation risk that Enhanced Disease Control, EDC, is going to take care of for us. So if you look at it down here, so the base fungicide packages that we have, your prothioconazole, fluoxystrobin, and metalaxyl, all really at our base rates is what we call them. And with the Enhanced Disease Control, really we're looking at just a higher top end rate of the prothioconazole and the fluoxystrobin on top of the base rate of metalaxyl. So again, adding this in, that it's at no additional cost. If your product that you have on your farm fits the year 1, year 2, or 3 growth products, this is coming on addition and no extra cost from you just for being a loyal DeKalb Asgrow customer. So That's all I had today, just kind of short and to the point, talking about a few early season insects in corn, diseases in corn to watch out for, and what to do from a mitigation standpoint. You know, choose the right hybrid, talk to your local DeKalb Asgrow dealer, enhanced disease control, our treatment options, you'll be off and running. Again, leaving you additional resources, all three agronomists' Twitter handles up there. Please follow us for agronomic updates, our team pages, Twitter, Facebook as well, and the Snapchat account that we add things to during season. And again, reach out to your local DeKalb Asgrow dealer for more information. Thank you for your business, and have a safe and successful planting season. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.